that's like espionage. That's not like marketing.
See, I'm just gonna follow through and be like, it still doesn't bother me. I think literally there could be cameras in my house. I'd be like, take a look.
Take a look. See.
The joke's on you.
Get a glimpse.
Believe me, Joel, there are cameras in my house.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of That Cousin Show. We are picking up from last week's episode of Unpopular Opinions. We're going to keep going down this road because we just have so many opinions that you guys will hate. So we thought, let's just do more of that. And we're not going to waste any time. Let's just jump right into it. Luke has a list that we've put together of unpopular opinions that we think we will disagree on and have lots of controversial opinions on. So take it away, Luke.
Yeah, man. All right. First one on the list, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Cruises are the worst vacation.
Oh, man. Well, I know Cody loves cruises. Actually, on a somber note, Cody, I think, was actually going on a cruise in June, but thanks to COVID-19, I believe that has been canceled. So
What's that?
What's COVID-19? Haven't heard of it?
No.
Or you were going on an Alaskan cruise, right, Cody?
Yeah.
So for context, all of us have been on one cruise in our life. Correct me? No, I mean, wrong. Luke, you've been on more than one.
I've been on a couple.
Okay. So the rest of us, if I'm correct, been on one cruise in our life, and that was about 10, 12 years ago. And Cody was about to go on a second one. What made you rethink this, to going on a cruise? Because we did not have the best experience the first time.
What made me rethink it?
Yeah, what made you go, I'm going to give cruises another shot? Was it just been long enough?
I didn't think the first one was that bad.
Cody.
To where I was like, I never want to go again. I mean, the Alaskan cruise is a different place. It's a different group of people, different sights and sounds. I was like, you know what? I'll give it another shot.
Interesting.
How open-minded of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Luke, since you've been on more cruises than the rest of us, why do you dislike them so much?
I think because they're so structured. It's like you go, for one thing, okay, both cruises I've been on, the cabins, we didn't have like the fancy balcony or even a window.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one that we all went on, we had like an inside cabin. It was like sleeping in a closet. Granted, it was amazing. We slept great because there was no light or sound. Yeah. But it was like a sensory deprivation tank in there. But it was just too like, okay, now this is the time that you eat, and this is the time that you go to dinner, and like you're gonna do this, and this is the time that you will be entertained. Mm-hmm. And it's like I'm just gonna do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, we did have some good times. I'm not gonna say it was like a horrible time all the way through. Mm-hmm. There's some cool things that we did, but overall, the actual cruise time is not what I remember. I remember the excursions. I don't remember the cruise time.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. I think that's exact. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think that's how we all felt about that cruise. It was a carnival cruise for those who are wanting to know the context of this, because I don't think all cruises are identical, of course. But I think what Luke's touching on is exactly right. There was so much structure to the cruise itself. It was get in line here, stand over here, wait for this, be here at this time. And to be fair, I'm happy that we are fortunate enough to go on a cruise, but we are used to, if we're going to spend that much money to have a good time, I don't like the idea that I have to get up and go do anything at any particular time that I don't want to do. And if I miss that window, I now am like going to starve, because apparently that was the only window of time to get food.
Yeah.
It was just not the funnest experience. And I think Cody's right too, which is it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like god awful. Like this is the worst trip. We've definitely had worse trips, but for the amount of money we spent, definitely not great. But I think I might be with Cody on this one. I would be open to trying it again, but it had to be under very loose circumstances, and I don't think that's possible, especially now with everything going on. But whole different story.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you guys. I mean, we all were on the same cruise, and we all experienced the same crap, which is, it's like you're spending as much as like going abroad or something. Like it's a big vacation, it's a lot of money, and you have like this strict schedule you have to keep if you want to actually like do stuff and have fun, or you're just going to be stuck on the cruise all day. So you either go out and like get off of wherever the cruise stops, but you have to get off at a certain time and you have to be back at a certain time. And it just like stresses you out. And if you're doing that almost every day, you're just like, when can I just like relax? Yeah. And when you do relax, you're relaxing by the most crowded pool that ever existed. And
ocean.
Yeah, and there's like, I mean, depending on which cruise you go on, there's either children running around or just drunk, crazy 40-year-olds that you don't want to be next to. So it's just like, why? No, I'm good. I'll just rent an Airbnb in Palm Springs. It's fine.
Yeah, I would. Again, I am totally open to trying it again. Maybe it was just not. Maybe our expectations were not in check, and maybe we were naive. There's a lot of things I was naive about getting on a big cruise ship like that. Like, I was not aware that you can literally feel the boat moving at all times. I thought it was like, oh, we're just going to get like on a building that happens to be on water. But no, you can literally feel yourself rocking back and forth, and that's not great because I'm not necessarily motion sickness, but I could definitely feel it. And if you feel that way throughout your entire vacation, it's not the best time. And speaking of like not feeling good, I'm pretty sure, Joel, you puked on that trip.
Yeah, I did, but it wasn't because like I have no problem with like boat rocking, whatever. Actually, that was quite soothing. But I have a huge problem with waking up early every morning.
I totally forgot about that.
And it was like 5 days straight, and every morning I got sicker and sicker because my body was just like, you need to sleep. Like I am a infant when it comes to sleep. Like if I don't get 8 hours, then my body just does not like it. So by the last day, and we were literally waking up to leave, like to exit the cruise ship for like the whole vacation, I ended up puking in the bathroom because I was so my body just couldn't take it anymore.
I remember that because we literally were getting off the ship, like they were coming around saying, all right, cabins X through Y or whatever would have to leave. And as they were coming around, you were in the bathroom just puking your guts out.
Yep.
And I think it was like your folks were asking, like, we got to go. Where's Joel? I'm like, well, he's in there losing a lung. I don't know what we're going to do. But
it's great when you are literally sick from exhaustion from your vacation. Like, that's the sign of a great vacation, right?
That's when it's just bad. It happened to me when we went to Cancun, like 2 years prior. The last day, I got complete heat exhaustion. Like, full blown, I can't move. I feel ill. Everything feels wrong. Yeah. And it's horrible. Now, granted, the rest of that trip was great, but that last day, I always say it's like a biblical thing. Like, for 6 days, I partied. On the 7th day, I rested. It was just kind of like, I don't think that's how God did it, but, who knows. But I just like to know where Cody's vacationing at this moment. His Zoom background looks like he's at a hotel checking in somewhere. What prompted you to do this, Cody?
Yeah, I'm at Motel 6.
Here I am, guys, at Motel 6.
Speaking of vacations, talking to you live.
Motel 6.
From Palm Springs.
The Barstow Motel 6.
Barstow Motel.
This would actually be a nice hotel lobby for Barstow.
It very well might.
It's got working lights.
Yeah.
Shout out to Barstow.
There's no crack on the floor.
Spend a lot of time in Barstow, do you?
I do. So I get all my crack. Actually, I'm waiting for my hookup here.
We have to totally animate like somebody walking in on the background.
Here's your crack, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, man. All right, let's keep this moving along. What's another unpopular opinion, Luke?
All right, guys. Next one. Let's see here. Okay. I don't have a problem with companies gathering my data.
So when you say like, wait, can you guys like just fill me in? Give me an example when companies gather your data. Like, where would that happen specifically for context too?
On any website.
So like
on any company website.
So like gather email and stuff.
Yeah, like if you they'll gather like so. Say if you make a purchase. If you make a purchase on a company website, they're going to get your address, your name, your email address, basically all of your information.
Right.
And with that information, they're going to be able to like profile you essentially, and market to you. Now, obviously, there's a lot of ways that the bad guys can get that information and use it to steal your identity and do all the things that you don't want. But ideally, in an ideal world, all that information, if you have nothing to hide, just helps companies send you better offers and the things that you actually want, the things that you are looking for more easily. Have at it. Have at it. You can have all my information.
Is that the same as, say, like if I type in a search to Google, I'm looking for new, a particular item, and then certain brands start marketing to you that type of item, like in your side browser or something like that? Is that the same? That's the same concept, right?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Google is tracking your search.
Now, again,
patterns.
I don't necessarily dislike that, but I know I don't like it because it can be annoying. It's not like I go like, oh my gosh, my day's ruined because they're advertising to me, but I do find it somewhat annoying. They're like, here, take this, because you just looked for it. And you're like,
I think it's more annoying. Like the advertisements themselves can be annoying.
Yeah.
But they would be advertising anything anyway if they didn't have your information. So at least it's a little bit tailored to you, as opposed to like them being like, buy this purse.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And most platforms actually have, like, say it's Facebook or Google, most platforms actually have an option for you to like tailor those ads, right? Like, oh, I'm not interested in this. I don't want to see these anymore. Like, they'll actually, you have the ability to kind of tweak that information. Obviously now with the laws that have passed, you can just wipe your data clean, essentially. You
can wipe clean, Luke. You
can wipe clean. It's like having a wet wipe on the internet. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you, Joel. Like, some ads are super obnoxious, but what gets me here, okay, there is a caveat.
You just thought of something.
There is a caveat.
All right.
And I don't know. This is kind of creeping into conspiracy theory territory here.
Cue the X-Files theme.
Yeah, there you go. Devices that have the ability to listen to you.
Yeah. It's a whole other thing.
But even then, like, so.
Well, okay. There's a difference between like what you're searching for online and like while you're shopping or whatever. But like something that listens to a conversation that I'm having with my wife and then tries to like
but it's
sell
like,
me something based on that conversation.
It's all an algorithm. It's not like one guy like listening in with like a microphone and being like, "Oh yeah, say it again." It's just like, who cares?
Understood.
Horny guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it again.
Nothing but Pornhub. But look, I go online and I know that I'm being watched. Right? Like, I know that this company is trying to track me, and it's for their marketing purposes. It's for being able to know who their customer is. But when I'm at home and I'm not doing that, that's like espionage. That's not like marketing.
See, I'm just gonna follow through and be like, it still doesn't bother me. I think literally there could be cameras in my house. And I'd be like, take a look.
Take a look, Steve.
The joke's on you.
Get a glimpse.
Oh, believe me, Joel, there are cameras in my house.
Cody's just got files and files.
Yeah.
What about you, Cody? What do you? Oh, sorry, Joel. Go ahead before we get to.
No, that was basically my point. I guess I just don't. I haven't been able to like figure out the harm to it, like how it affects me on like a personal level. I can't see that happening. If it was literally people like listening in, yes, that'd be a problem. But if it's like just computer algorithms being like, we think he said this, therefore this is the advertisement we're going to show him, like, whatever.
Well,
show
Joel,
me whatever.
When you sell drugs for a living,
That's the problem. Cody, what's your 2 cents on this?
Well,
too much.
There you go. I guess that explains why I get so many recommendations for underground dungeon equipment.
underground dungeon equipment.
As opposed to that above ground dungeon.
You've never been to an above ground dungeon in the attic?
In the attic,
Stuff is crap.
he has an attic dungeon.
Welcome to the attic dungeon. I call it the AD. Oh, ad. Ooh.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
It's
it all
coming together.
connects.
Oh, it's all connected. Yeah, on a more serious note, I agree with all of you. I don't care.
Don't give a crap.
I don't care if they listen to me.
Wait, hold on. So you agree with me, but you don't agree with Luke.
For the
He wasn't listening.
when you're not, you mean
Which
when
point
you're,
you're talking about?
well, because there's when you're online searching, and then there's also having your discussions with your wife, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend tracked. I don't know. I prefer they not, but even if they are, I'm not talking about anything that's serious. I mean, I hope that if they are, that they're laughing and they're having a good time with me.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm flattered.
No, that's a good point. I feel like the only time I would be concerned is if I was doing something very illegal, where I would be worried that the FBI is listening in.
Yeah,
But since
like I
that's
said,
not the case.
Yeah, like I said before, if you have nothing to hide, it doesn't really matter. Like, even if you are having a conversation with your wife, it's just the fact that one is it's known that you're being tracked. The other is it's not known.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And not to be argumentative about this whole thing, but this is a podcast. That's what we do here. But I agree with you guys in the sense that I don't care that much. I feel like there's a billion other things I'm more concerned about than this. But as far as my stance on it, I don't really care if they're listening, but as a principle, I don't think they should be able to do that because it is an invasion of privacy. I know we kid when they say, like, yeah, bring the cameras in. I've made that same joke to, like, my mom sometimes. My mom's, like, a big proponent of, like, not anybody should be listening. And then, from a principle standpoint, if I had to make a policy, I'd be like, no, you can't. That's an invasion of privacy. People have a right to not have people listed in on their conversation without their consent. But should we care? I don't know, guys. I feel like there's a billion other things we could be worrying about other than this. And on top of that, like you said, unless you're doing something illegal, probably not that big of a deal. Like,
or unless Amazon search results is like, how dare you say that to your wife?
Yeah. Like then that's where it becomes like we could easily go down the trajectory of like they could easily overstep their boundaries. In which case, I think they already have by listening in, be it algorithm or somebody there with the headphones on going, this isn't like The Lives of Others, that movie where it's the guy on the walls going, I can't believe they said this. But, it's still just the principle of it. It's like, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'd vote against that. No, you guys are not allowed to do that. But even if they do it, I'm like, well, I'm not breaking the law, so I have nothing to worry about.
I hope it gets to the point where they get like so good at listening in when you're talking about like with your wife, like, what should we get? Should we get like Pizza Hut? You literally see an advertisement that says like, are you sure about that? And you just know what it's talking about.
It's just Jim as advertisements after that. You sure you want Pizza Hut?
It's like
How
that
about LA
scene.
Fitness?
It's like that scene from the game where the news anchor is like, "Let me tell you," like the news anchor just turns to the TV.
Yeah.
Like, what? All right, next one, Luke. What's the next one?
Okay. Here's one that's right up our alley. Fight scenes in movies are boring.
What? What? I want to hear Cody's thoughts first on this. Cody loves some fight scenes.
Cody, go.
I have very serious thoughts about that. I agree that they can be boring, but it's situational where there has to be motivation behind the fight and it has to be justified. If you're doing it gratuitously having a fight for the sake of entertainment, then yeah, that can get boring. When you have two characters you don't care about, that makes a difference. If you have strong character development, when you're really rooting for one of them, then it becomes more engaging. That is my quick and dirty answer.
Well put and well said.
Dirty.
So what would be a good example of a fight scene that just doesn't deserve to be a fight scene, doesn't deserve to be in the movie?
All of the scenes in Mortal Kombat don't deserve any of those.
Excuse me?
Mortal Kombat should have been a drama, and we know it.
Should have been a long 3-hour epic of them just debating the physics of Outworld.
Just talking their problems out.
So why do you want to overtake Earth?
It's just Liu Kang and Shao Kahn in a court case.
He told me 9 tournaments.
And he got 6.
And Raiden's the lawyer.
Yeah. Shao Kahn is the judge. Well,
I don't think so.
I object. I don't think so.
Oh man,
classic. Someone's got to. Cody, animate that, please. I want to see Mortal Kombat courtroom. But
Let's do a picture.
just have a few good men or something. A few good men court scene with just like Mortal Kombat characters heads on all the characters.
That's what that brings up another question. What movie doesn't have a fight scene that should have a fight scene?
Panic Room. No, that has a fight scene.
That's a few fight scenes.
Domestic disturbance.
Literally, it's called domestic disturbance and doesn't have a fight scene.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does at the end, but
There's not too many.
yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I can't think of
anything right now.
It seems like there's. Oh, I guess
12 Angry Men?
I guess maybe Joel, is your point more like, is there ever a time where we're like, this movie could have really used a fight scene? Like, that doesn't exist.
Well, yeah. I mean, if there are movies that have too many, you would think there might be movies that don't have enough or at all.
Yeah, I think like we're all on the same page that it's all contextual to it's within the context of the movie itself. Like, it has to make sense. It can't just be in there arbitrarily for whatever reason. I would disagree that I think Mortal Kombat definitely deserves some fight scenes. It's called Mortal Kombat, but nonetheless,
yeah,
That's the whole point.
But I think there's like actually a deeper question here, which is like, are there certain fight scenes that are clearly better than other ones? Not in the sense of like it worked better within the story, but just like this was clearly a better fight than that fight. Because like people could make the argument all fights are the same. It's just punches and kicks thrown. But like some fights, there's really a distinction here between a certain type of fight. And like I think we've all watched the fight scenes in The Matrix. I don't know how many times. Like they're amazing fight sequences. But I'm not gonna go back and watch like a fight scene with, Jean-Claude Van Damme or something like that. I just don't care. It seems kind of lame.
I feel like that's one of the main reasons I don't like the Avenger movies, is because, especially the ones with like huge battles or whatever.
That's a good point.
I'm just like, I can't really see what's going on. I know they're trying their hardest to make it like a clear fight, and like they're zooming in on just like 2 people at a time or 3 people at a time or whatever, but it just becomes so chaotic where the camera's just like whipping around so much on individual fights that's going on. It's like, I don't care anymore at all. I can't tell who's winning, who's losing. I don't remember what this battle's about. Like, just get past it.
So that's actually, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly the reason why I wrote this particular one, is because we had a Marvel marathon essentially, and it got to the last movie, Endgame, and that last fight scene, I don't know if this is like a recent development on my part or what, but I found myself just like tired of watching it. I was just like, this is supposed to be the most exciting part of this movie, and like it's just more of the same. And I'm just like how you just can't, like, there are little individual things that are cool. Obviously, Cap, spoiler alert, gets the hammer, all that stuff, like cool things. But it's like, how many punches and kicks can you throw in a movie?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, and on top of that, like, each Avengers movie has like these big climactic fights at the end of all of them, pretty much. Almost every like Marvel movie does. So it's like, it's really all leading up to another fight. So it's like, who cares? Like, if no fighting has been done up to that point, then it'd be like, awesome, now we could finally see them fight or whatever. But it's like, we already saw this in the last movie.
Yeah.
We're watching it again.
So my wife loves these, like, the Marvel like extended universe TV shows. Luke Cage, all these other ones.
Daredevil.
Daredevil. And I can't stand them. because that's literally 100% of the plot line is just like, let's get to the next fight scene, and every single fight scene is exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like I walk in at periodic times, and it's just like over dramatic fight scene that looks exactly the same as the last fight scene, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know if I'm getting older. I don't know if it's my old age. I don't know what it is, but I'm just like, I find myself just bored out of my mind.
Yep.
Okay, here we go again.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Punch,
I think-
kick.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, historically, Batman movies have been much more entertaining, at least in my eyes, and I'm sure most people's eyes, is because, yes, they have fight scenes in them, of course they do, but they're not like these epic, crazy fight scenes. They're more like grungy, like either like one-on-one, and like Batman's getting the crap beat out of him or something, or it's like him just like doing something with his gadgets or whatever he's doing, sneaking around, and as opposed to like Superman, who hasn't really had a great successful movie besides like the original, but like those fight scenes are more like exactly like the Marvel. It's like you're just like flying around in the air, throwing things and like throwing people into objects, and it's like, I can't relate to this at all. I don't really care that's happening. It's boring.
Don't get me started on like the new like Man of Steel series movies, or like all of the DC movies. I'm just like where the fight scene it revolves around like leveling an entire city.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. Like people are jumping across a continent to like throw a single punch, and I'm just like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? I don't.
Yeah, and I think the clearest like point, I guess, is to make with the first Matrix, where every fight scene like has a purpose, and they're obviously not realistic fight scenes, but they're done in such a way where like they're kind of slower paced and you can see everything that's happening, and it's like, okay, that makes sense, as opposed to Matrix Revolutions, like the third sequel, where they're flying in the air and they're flying from like cities apart to like crash into each other and like making these like atomic bombs, and it's just like, what is happening?
Yeah,
this is not entertaining anymore.
So outrageous.
Yeah, there's something. I mean, there's a lot of nuance to that, and we probably like don't have time to get into all the details of like what makes a fight scene work and what doesn't. But as far as like the Marvel point, which I think is like the prime example of where fight scenes do get boring, and I think a lot of that is because of the context. Like we already know the main hero is going to live. We know this because he's in 4 movies after this one. So whoever he's fighting is just like filler at this point, and it's just going to be punch, punch, punch. I can't defeat him at the end. I probably do, and I will see you in the sequel. So there's like no suspense here. It doesn't work within the story, and I'm sure there might be like 1 or 2 good fight sequences like from the original ones that maybe are like an exception, but for the vast majority of them, I don't think they work just because they're CGI laden, and they just are already like, you already know what's going to happen. It's an old cliche in Hollywood that every 10 minutes there needs to be an action sequence. And you can actually see that in a lot of, it's very formulaic in the Marvel movies. It literally is like every 10 minutes, like clock it. But in movies like The Matrix, or I'm just trying to think of another example that has like really good fight scenes besides that one. Or like even just generic action scenes, if you will. It doesn't have to be a fight scene. But I think like the Terminator series, like that movie's like, that's an action movie, or especially the sequel. And a lot of that is like very grounded and very like, I think there's some CGI to that, but a lot of it's practical. And it's just like the stakes are high and you don't know what's going to happen. You're like, oh my gosh. But when it's so formulaic and you're like, all right, yeah, Spider-Man's probably going to beat this guy. And even if he doesn't, I highly doubt he's not going to win in the end.
but like to your point, Dylan, like look at the first and second Terminator versus like the subsequent Terminators.
Oh yeah,
like look at a fight scene comparison. Like so much slower in the first 2, but so much better. I don't know what that special ingredient is. I don't know if it's just like character development or just the fact that like they're really focusing on like, oh, this is a machine and he's like super powerful and all this stuff. But like the newer ones, it's like it turns into it's exactly the same thing as Marvel. It turns into a Marvel movie. Like they're just leaping a mile into the air and like, I'm gonna Hulk smash you, and it's like,
I mean, this kind of sounds funny to say when we're talking about like Terminator 2, but I think it's a matter of belief. In that when you watch those fight scenes, like when Arnold punches the bad guy or whatever, it's like you can recognize, like, okay, like the way they did that made it seem real. Mm-hmm. Like he has like this much power. He doesn't go flying 1,000 feet. He just like falls on the floor or whatever. Mm-hmm. Gets back up, and then he's like attacking him again. Or it's like he's chasing the car, and like when he hits the car, you feel the weight of the car and like all this stuff. And in the sequels, it's like you said, it's like they're the third one, Arnold's like on a crane or something, and he's like literally being driven through a building that's like being demolished at the same time. And it's like, why? Yeah. Like I'm not following anymore. You lost it.
It seems like you said, like with relatively, it's like grounded in like physics and reality. Like we understand the parameters a little bit. That's like always been the problem with Superman, is that we don't know the parameters. Like somehow he gets his power from the sun, but yet he's straining when he lifts up stuff. Like I thought he had like unlimited strength. Like it's just, it doesn't make sense. But it's like, yeah, Cody and I would watch like the old Terminator movies like over and over, and especially when The Matrix came out, we'd watch those fight sequences over and over again. And I'm like, there has to be, like Luke mentioned, there has to be some secret ingredients that we probably don't have time to delve into too much. But I'm sure a lot of it has to do with like direction, the story, and just the presentation itself. But I just know that especially nowadays, the CGI, like we call it the Gumby characters, where you can obviously tell it's a CGI rendering of the actor as opposed to it being like a stuntman. You can always tell. They haven't mastered it yet. They're getting closer. Don't get me wrong. The epic fight sequence at the end of Endgame was cool for what it was, but it's like you can just tell. You're like, this is all green screen. I just know it is. Yeah. Like there's no, it doesn't exist.
But even if they get to a point where it does look as real as they can possibly make it, and it looks like they were just filming it on site, they still have to realize, like, they have to take a couple steps back and don't make it like Endgame, where there's just so much chaos going on that nobody really cares. Like, make it, if you have to do it digital, like at least make it sort of realistic, where it's just like a couple of characters, and basically just make it Terminator 2. That's all I'm asking for every movie.
Yeah.
Remake Terminator 2.
Final thoughts, Cody, on this before we move on?
Yeah, I agree. That's a good way to put it. Back to you, Dylan.
More on that later.
Cody's still waiting for his drugs in Motel 6 lobby.
Where are you at?
Yeah. Speaking of movies, Joel, you had an unpopular opinion you mentioned before we jumped on here about movies. Or going to
as far as seeing movies, I've started to get frustrated going to the movie theater.
Yes.
And just not being able to experience the movie because I get distracted with other things that are going on.
Well, you might get your wish, because they might be shutting down permanently with everything going on.
Yeah, apparently.
Hopefully not, but I hear you.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, because I love going to the movies. I love the experience. I love like the ambiance, and like it's a great way to watch the new movie, especially the one that you're really waiting for. But if there is a baby screaming or crying, I am very upset. Yeah. And my opinion is that it should be illegal to bring a baby into the movie theater.
Goes straight to jail. That baby goes straight to jail.
Yep. Yes, you have to arrest the baby, not the mother or the father.
Baby jail. What would be the age cutoff? Are we talking like 3 years old?
Like 13. No. I don't know. Whatever the age cutoff is for an infant, I would suppose. I guess whenever they can, like, whenever they start appreciating movies, before that.
I can make the argument for any kid below the age of 2 should not be in a movie theater. And I'm not usually for, like, we should make it a law that says you can't do that. I'm not usually for that, but I think this one is totally rational. I think it absolutely makes sense. And it's not because, like, we don't, like, have anything against babies. It's just there's literally no reason why that baby should be in the theater. Literally no reason. That baby does not care about that movie. It might be able to distract them for a little bit, but I'm with you on this one, Joel, where I cannot stand it when parents are just like bringing their newborn baby because they had to see the movie. I'm like, you couldn't wait. Yeah. You had to ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah. And on top of that, and this is not a joke, when you go into a movie to see like a horror movie or something that's like action filled and there has like some scary parts or something, and there's like a baby there, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, obviously the baby doesn't recognize like what's scary or not, but they obviously react to loud noises, and that's happening constantly. So they're gonna cry. Don't do it. Luke, you had a baby.
Yeah, I spent every day of its waking life in the movie theater.
Lost it. Yeah, Luke just raised that baby in a movie theater.
I raised that baby in a movie theater. No, I
Popcorn baby.
Yeah, I totally agree. It drives me nuts, even as a parent. It drives me nuts. If you can't reasonably like turn to that child and say shush and have it understand you and actually shush, it's too young. Don't have it be in a movie theater at all.
So being the only parent here, can you at least understand to a certain point why some parents are doing that?
I have no idea. Well, I do have an idea. It's because they couldn't get a babysitter. There's no good reason, Joel. There's no good reason at all. It's because of they're just, I don't know, they're lazy, or they couldn't get a babysitter, or they couldn't afford a babysitter, or whatever, and they want to do what they want to do, and they don't want the baby to affect their social life. Right. So it's like, too bad, so
affect
sad.
Everybody else's.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what you know, I don't think that's a unpopular opinion. I think that's quite a popular opinion.
Probably not.
Yeah.
What they should do is for movies that come out, the last day it's in the theater, they should be like, all right, babies are welcome. Because there's not going to be that many people in theater, and like nobody's really going to care.
Have like a parent day.
Exactly.
Or there should be at least like
day.
Maybe not even the last day, but it's like someday during the week when it's not that busy. Like certainly not opening weekend, but like maybe like on a Monday night, like Monday nights, bring your baby. We don't care. But yeah, something to that effect where it's like, guys, do not bring your baby to this movie where it's just going to be a nuisance for everybody around, and especially you. I don't know what you're like. Again, like you have nothing to lose other than you have to wait a little bit longer to see this movie, and that's just what it's called being a parent.
Yeah, I've seen. Okay, so I've been in the theater, and like same exact thing. It wasn't a baby, but it was like a toddler or something like that. Toddler was crying. And it literally, like, the whole family was there. It seemed like aunts, uncles, grandparents, everybody. And the adults it was like pass the kid along game. It was like, well, I can't calm it down. You take care of it. And like every single adult was just like, it's like you're ruining your own time. Like it's not just everyone else in the theater. Like they're obviously just as frustrated. Like what are you doing? You know, like what's the thinking behind that? Like, well, is it just like I give up and everyone here wants to see this movie, so let's just roll with it and see what happens.
Yeah,
it's like
drives me nuts.
Just take the kid out. Go to the park.
And just to deviate slightly, but it's not just babies, but people who still, in 2020 or 2019, still talk during a movie in the theater. No. I couldn't. Me and Anissa went to see Get Out, and there was a group of dudes next to me, and they were having a full-blown conversation during almost the entire movie. I did the whole, and they were big dudes, so I didn't want to say anything. But I definitely did the whole like eye roll and like look over, like, how are you doing this right now?
Like, guys, come on.
It's the classic Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
There's
eye roll.
Yeah, there's two levels. Yeah. The first eye roll and then the second eye roll.
Like, really?
Like, really?
Yeah, I think it's just a universal problem with movie theaters, and I think that's why a lot of, like, there's been actually, like, less and less people going to the movie theater, aside from the other platforms that make it easier to see movies, but that's just been the biggest complaint is, like, there's nothing movie theaters can really do about that. I mean, people are people. They're going to do what they want, and It's not like you can have security in there at all times just watching everybody. But at the same time, you're like, guys, like, really, this is just common sense. How are you this much of like an a-hole? I don't understand it. Where were you raised? Like, who told you this was acceptable? I don't get it.
So, as a point in favor of this and kind of a side topic, because of this whole coronavirus thing and we're all stuck at home, studios have started releasing movies direct to like streaming services, right? And actually, so the other day, I think it was Sunday or Saturday, we saw that we have a 3-year-old, and we saw that the new Trolls movie was available for rent. Hadn't even hit the theaters, but it's available for rent. It was $20 to rent it. So they were charging buy prices for rent. I am 100% in favor of that. I am totally okay. I paid $20. I rented it for 48 hours. We watched it. It was great. Cheaper than going to the movies. I was in the comfort of my own living room. I don't care that I don't own it. It was fantastic. I will do that every time. I will never set foot in a theater again. I'm happy with that. Keep doing it.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Because
I love it.
Obviously you're not going to see Trolls. You're going to take your daughter to see Trolls. So if your daughter's going to have just as good a time on the couch as she would be in a movie theater, I'm sure.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah. So it was actually cheaper for you then, right?
Yeah, it wound up being cheaper. $20. Yeah, I mean, it would be what? It would be like $12 a person for me and my wife, plus a kid's ticket, plus popcorn, sodas, all that fun stuff.
Gas.
I mean, it's like
gas
plus the gas afterwards.
Wear and tear on the vehicle.
Wear and tear on your vehicle.
Gotta stop at Jiffy Lube.
Oil change on the way.
I would obviously blow a tire the whole on the way there.
That's a multi-million-dollar trip.
Brake fluid.
Gotta sell all your stocks.
The movie theater is 50 miles away from me.
Your hike.
Cody, when was the last time you went to the movie theater? What was your last experience like? I haven't heard from you yet.
What did I see? That was, I think it was Star Wars.
Or the last one, the Rise of Skywalker. And what was your experience like? Did you like the movie theater? Do you like the movie theater experience still, or are you kind of like, it's not worth it?
I think it's fine. I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily want them to go away, but yeah, I definitely agree they're overpriced, and I think there are certain movies that are probably better in the theater. Ones that require crazy sound effects, like Star Wars, for example. Those movies, pretty much call for it.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm very curious as to how this is going to go, because I've seen the $20 for like a brand new movie, given the whole lockdown, because studios are like, dude, we need to make our money back quick. But I'm really torn on this, because I do agree that there's just something so nice about just watching a movie in your own home and not having to go anywhere and deal with the crowds and all that stuff. If you asked me this 15 years ago, it would have been a completely different story, because we were at the movie theater like every weekend. But there is just something about maybe we're just becoming grumpy old men where we're like, I just don't want to deal with you cackling kids. But it's just kind of become a lot more prevalent now, at least as far as what I know that you're experiencing this more, Luke, because you're mentioning it, but I've kind of noticed that too, where you're just a lot more sensitive to people talking in the movie theater, and just the littlest things bug you now, and you're like, dude, I just want to watch the movie. Stop talking, or stop pulling your phone up, or don't do this, whatever. And but I do agree with Cody that there are some movies that are like, I definitely want to see this in the theater, not at home. It would be a much better experiences, and that's usually movies that are like the Star Wars and the Marvel movies that are like big blockbusters that have all these visual effects, and like it's all the technical stuff that you want to really experience.
Well, when you're spending your money, not your parents' money, and you're paying for you and your spouse and your child to go watch a movie, and it's $60. Damn it! I want to watch this movie in peace. I think that's anybody. I don't think it's. I think that would be anybody. You don't have to be an older person.
That is a very appropriate context.
Yeah. But I mean, look, if it were up to me, I'd be like, look, offer both. If I like, as an industry, offer both. Give people the ability to watch it at home for $20. Rent, fine. I don't care. Price it up. I don't care how you do that. Get people out of the theaters turn theaters into like more of a boutique-y, nice place to watch a movie. Price people out of it, like Disneyland. Skyrocket that price. Seriously, I'm serious. Charge $40 a pop. Give me like a beer and a popcorn and like a nice cushy seat where I'm just like in a theater by myself or with like a few people where I can select my seat and I can sit on a sofa by myself and like have my own private audio. Dude, I will do that all day long. All day long.
Well, I mean, I know they do have theaters like that are just like crazy expensive, but you do get that kind of experience.
Exactly. I think you know.
But making all theaters like that is a little. I'd be worried just because people like us as kids, like I can't spend $25 on just me for a ticket.
Who cares?
Who cares?
I almost like every time I do go to the theater now, or not, I wouldn't say every time, but me and my wife definitely like to go to the nicer, quote unquote, nicer theaters now to see movies. Just to like avoid the riffraff of all the groups that go to see these movies like on opening weekend. But yeah, if you guys have ever been to like there's like one in Pasadena called, I think it's like the Gold Class. There's also the Sinopolis in Westlake. We're in Ventura for everybody who's listening, but those ones, yeah, they're like $30 a pop. But you get like your own recliner. And they give you like a pillow. They come over and massage your face and just like ask you, do you want more money in your pocket? And I'm like,
what? What? I just paid $30.
Well,
They're actually just in your way the whole time. You're just trying to like get around. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to watch the movie. Guys.
Actually, there is like something about that because they come on, they have like a full dinner menu, and I'm like, all right. At some point, this is overkill. They're like bringing you sushi. They're like, all right, what happened to just good old fashioned popcorn? That's all I want.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. How far is too far?
Yeah. At a certain point, you're like, maybe don't do that.
I want a full blown steak dinner.
I'm sure some offer that. There has to be something to that effect.
Hold the ketchup, Cody.
Oh, back to this. Cody likes some ketchup. Cody, what was the last movie you saw? This is the last topic we're going to talk about before we get to wrap up.
Gosh, what did we watch? Oh, we watched Onward.
Oh, the new Pixar movie?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good. It was cute.
I haven't seen it yet.
Interesting.
It was very somber and sad and inspiring.
Was that one that was... Did you watch that on Disney Plus, or was that like a rent? Oh.
Yeah, they put it on Disney Plus because of the shutdown and all that.
Oh, I might have to check that up. Because Pixar rarely fails at movies. And I like
they only failed once with Cars and Cars 2. Well, that's 2 failures.
Cars wasn't that bad. Cars 2 was not good.
They made a Cars 3, didn't they?
Cars 3 was pretty good.
What?
I only saw the first one. I didn't see... Actually, I don't think I saw most of the first one. I was like, I'm just not into this. Like, this is just not... Nah.
Yeah, it was kind of meh. I was more upset that they made a whole land on it at Disneyland.
Yeah, I get like that's the most convenient movie to make into a ride. It's Car. Like, okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
I mean, do Toy Story Land way before you do Cars Land.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Also, a pet peeve of mine. Why would you call it Cars Land and not Radiator Springs?
Oh, like the
like what it's called in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That is a little like
drives me nuts.
Yeah, they just missed the whole point. I haven't been to Disneyland in probably 8 years or something like that, but I don't even know what it's like down there now. I just know, like you said, it's super expensive and not even open right now. So
yeah,
probably won't even be open for a while.
They've this is only like the fourth or fifth time that Disneyland has ever closed in its history since 1955.
This will probably be like the longest it's been closed too, right?
Yeah. Previously, it was only like a day. I think. What was it? Let's see. It opened in 55. I think the first time was the Kennedy assassination. The second time was something else. The third time was 9/11. No. I'm sorry. It was the Northridge earthquake, 9/11, and then this. So this is the fourth time.
Crazy.
Now, I'm not saying that those aren't, like, obviously those are tragedies, but why would you get just devil's advocate? Why would you shut down Disneyland if that earthquake? I get, maybe there's some things got rattled a little loose. We need to double check on, but again, I get national tragedies. I get 9/11. I get JFK. But would you be like, we got to shut down our business today? Like, I don't know. Like, that was a little bit of a stretch. Maybe I'm being insensitive, but
I mean, yeah, for 9/11 for sure, just because they didn't know what the heck is going on, so they're probably
Yeah.
just like,
Okay.
stop everything.
Potential attack.
okay, I
Yeah.
guess that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But JFK, I'm like,
JFK, maybe the same thing. I don't know.
Day of mourning.
I don't know what they were thinking back then.
yeah, I don't know. Either way, Coney, parting words, Cody, before we wrap up.
No, very well done, very well organized.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you approve of that.
Approved. Stamp of approval.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you everybody out there for watching, listening, and tuning in. If you guys are still watching and listening at this point, you guys are devoted fans, and we really appreciate it. But most likely, it's just our wives listening. So, hi,
Not
babes.
even them.
If
Not even
that.
Yeah, if that. It's our husbands. Yeah. Hi, babe. How you doing? All right. Well, thank you, everybody else out there that's not our wife and our husbands. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels and check us out on SoundCloud, iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We got new cool stuff coming out all the time, so please check us out there. But if not, we'll see you next week. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Have a good day.